Welcome. We want to transfer this design. This is Figma, and this design is on Figma. We want to transfer it to Bubble. We are going to start from the navbar. This is the navbar here. So we are going to transfer it to Bubble. This is the laptop view, and this is the mobile mobile view. So but we are going to design from the desktop, then make the page responsive down to the mobile. So I'm going to go to Bubble now. So this is my Bubble dashboard, and I'm going to click on create an app, which is a new app. So I'm going to name this app a course web app. So let's just name it course web app, and I'll click on get started. I'm going to say to Bubble here that no thanks, I'll skip the free trial. So, and I'll start with the basic features. So I'm going to start with the basic features here. So our new app is getting set up. So here we have get started on the right foot. So this is asking for our application name again. So we've done that already, course web app. So we are going to the next. The next is the fonts we want to use. So we can set up a custom font later in the app. I will show us where we can do that later. And we click on the next step. Yes, so this is where we set up the colors, the default colors we want to use for the project, the primary color, the primary contrast. So let's look at the color we have in this Figma file. So I can see that the primary color here is this yellow. So let's click on this to get the X code of the color. So this is orange. This is orange color. Sorry about that. This is orange color, and I want to get the X code so that I can paste it to Bubble. So the X code is this FF9 500. So I've copied it and I'm taking it to Bubble. So I'm going to make this primary color FF9. So that's going to be ash FF9. So as you can see, it has changed to the orange color. The primary contrast is going to be white, and the text is going to be black color. So let's make it this here. So I think we are good to go for now. So I'll click on the next step. Want to add plugins to your application? Not for now. I'm going to click on get started building. Now we are in the web app, and yes, what we want to start with is this navbar. we want to design this navbar and we are going to make it responsive. So I'm going to start by looking at the assets that we have here. I want to download the assets first. Don't worry about this one. This free courses selling soon. We are going to add it later. But let us build the navbar first. So there's a way we can look at what we have on this side of the page for those that are familiar with Figma, and for those that are just starting, we can just follow along. So I just double clicked this, and this is enough. I can make it do a drop down. Can do a drop down to see the components of the navbar. So this is a container in the navbar. I'll do the drop down again to select the logo that we have. So I'm going to download this logo. This is PNG. If we look at here, it is export. So I'm going to export the logo. So I just exported the logo, and I'm going back to Bubble to start the work. Now in Bubble, we can create a reusable element. Yes, we can, which I'm going to create now for the navbar, because if we need to use that element in multiple pages, we don't need to create it afresh every time. So we can create a reusable element. So we can either create it from here, add a new reusable element, or we can add it from here as well, new reusable. So either of the two we can create it, but let's look at this one as well. See, it is the same thing. So I'm going to name this navbar, and we are not cloning it from anywhere. We are not cloning it from anywhere. So we are just going to create. So creating a new reusable element. Once again, don't forget that we are creating this reusable element so that we can be able to use it in multiple pages across our project. So let me check the size of the navbar here. If I click on this now, I can see from here that it is 1860, but I feel that is too much. I'm going to create a new group here. I'm going to create a group. Yes, this is enough bar. So we are actually going to have this first, this navbar, this empty group. So it is there by default. So I can click on it from here, from this side. So if I click on the layout, it is fixed. So I'm going to change it from fixed to column. No, sorry, to row. I'll show us the difference between the row and column now. So if we are going to choose row, because if we look at what we want to create here, we can see that the elements are arranged horizontally. Yes, horizontally. So anything we want to arrange horizontally, we are going to choose row, and the ones we arrange vertically, for instance, like this, unlock your creative potential. This, and with online design and development courses, this is this text and this button, they are all arranged vertically. So in a nutshell, let's go back. I'll say row, and the width, I'm going to make the width, let's say 1400. So 1400, and the minimum height, if we look at this height is actually too high. Let us look at our Figma file. The height for this is 154, and we need to take into consideration that this free courses sales and soon is taking part of it. So for me, I'm going to make the height, let's say 70. Yes, 70. So that's the minimum height. Now we are also going to talk about this container alignment. So the container alignment is left aligned for now, and we have the center alignment, we have the right aligned, and space around, space between. So we are going to make use of all these as we go on with this creation. Now the next thing we want to do is look at our Figma file. We can see from here that this image, this logo is inside a group. So these home courses about us are also in a group, and they have spaces within them. And we have the sign up here, the sign up and login buttons, and with a space between them. This space between them is called the padding. We are still going to discuss about this later. So let us create two groups. As we can see here, this is a group and this is another group. So let us create two groups inside our navbar. So we are going to select group from here. Group. Here is the first group, and we can copy it and paste. Ctrl C for Windows and Command C for Mac, and Ctrl V for pasting, and Command V for Mac as well. So now we have two groups. We just replicated the two groups we have here, and the next thing we want to take note of is the arrangements in the group. So this first group, let us name it because here we have the name as group A. So let us name it as left group, and now let's name this one right group. Now if we take note of this elements tree, we can see that we have our reusable navbar, which is the first group. This first group came along as a default, so we were not the one that created this. So at the point of we making a new reusable element, this group was created. All we just did was just changed the width and the height of the group. We can also apply padding to it as well, but we are not going to make use of that for now. So the second thing we can take note here from the tree is that this is a branch, the left group and the right group as well. So those ones are replicating this group that is holding this logo and the text home courses about us, pricing and contact. And this second group as well is holding sign up login as well. So now what we have achieved now is that we have created the two groups that are holding them inside our navbar. So this one this one is serving as a navbar that we have, and we have two groups inside. So next thing we want to do now is input our logo inside the left group. Now we downloaded the logo a while ago, so we are going to come to the appearance here. Oh, sorry, we are going to come to the visual elements here and click on image. So this is text button, we have shape, and we'll look for the images. This is the image right here, and put it right inside that left group. We put it right inside the left group. So if we check this place now, we see image A inside the elements tree. So we are going to change the name to the logo. Let's change the name of the image to logo, and we are going to upload it from here. So we are going to find it on my computer. We just downloaded it. So we just downloaded it, and now we open. Okay, now we have the image. We have the image, but it's looking as if it is not inside, but we can change it, and that's happening because of the size. So let's check the size here, the size of the image here, the size of the logo. You can see the width is 54 and the height is 54. So we can replicate the same thing here under the layout. So we can change the width to 54 and the height to 54 as well. I think there's something wrong here actually. So now the image is not behaving well in the group because the container is still fixed. Now if we look at the navbar, we set the container layout to be row. That is what we want to have inside of it. We want to have them in a horizontal alignment. So that is for this navbar. So that means that this left group and right group are in a horizontal alignment because they are the children of this navbar, and we set the container layout. I mean, this navbar is a container, and the things that are inside are the children. So they are going to be arranged in a horizontal layout. So let us check what it's going to look like as a column. As you can see that when we changed it to column, the left group and the right group have been stacked upon each other. But let us go back to the navbar and choose row. So when we choose row, we can see that the left group and the right group have been arranged in a horizontal manner. So now the image is not displaying well because this left group, the container layout type is fixed. So we have to change it as well to row. We are changing it to row because you can see that when we changed it to row, the image showed up. We are changing it to row because if we look at the arrangement of these elements, you can see that this image and they are all arranged in a horizontal layout format. So the image is now showing, and we can make it this element fixed width because we don't want the image to get bigger or smaller. So that is why we are making it fixed width. And this vertical alignment is saying that inside this this left group, how should the image behave inside the left group? So that is what this vertical alignment is for, and it is saying that it should be top aligned. Well, that's fine. Let us leave that for now and let us proceed. Now, the next thing we want to do here is keep element aspect ratio fixed. So we want to keep the aspect ratio fixed because we don't want the image to become distorted or to change in size. Now that we have the image, we can notice that this left group is not centralized inside this navbar. So we can change that here by selecting the left group and changing the vertical alignment to center. So when we change it to center, we can see that it has been centralized inside the navbar group. So we can do the same thing as well for the right group as well. It's still fixed. So we are going to change it to row as well because the sign up and login buttons are arranged horizontally as well. So we are going to select row as well for the right group. Let us leave the container alignment for now, and the vertical alignment should be centered so that it is going to be centralized in this group. Now, the next thing we want to do is to add this the home, courses, about us, and pricing. Now we would want to put these in a group. So let us create another group inside this left group. So we just created it. If we look at it, we have group C in the elements tree and the logo is down. But we want the logo to come first, so we can click and hold the logo and take it up. So we can see it has rearranged. So let us change the name of this group C to inner group for left, or inner left group, anyone. So we are going to change this to row as well because the things we have inside, we want them to be in a horizontal layout. So let us bring this to the center. As you can see now, we have a group here and we have another group inside that is going to contain the text. So let us bring it to the center, and now we are going to add our text. So let us add the first one. So this is the text, and we can change it to home. So I just typed home, and as you can see, we now have home. If we look at the Figma file, we have home, courses, about us, pricing, and contact. So we can just copy, or before we copy, let us centralize it as well. Let's double click on it and go to the layout, and the vertical alignment should be centered. So we have it in the center as well. So now we can copy the home, copy and paste, and as you can see, while we are pasting, it is forming in a horizontal manner. Now excuse me. Now this one came down because the space here is no more enough for it. So what we can do is increase the width of this. If we increase the width, so we can see it has now contained everything. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 text here, courses about us, pricing and contact. So we can change this to courses, change this to about us, change this to pricing, and the last one to contact. So change it to contact. So now we have them like that. So we can see that the space in the container is a bit big, so we'll say that the width should be reduced. The width should be reduced. And there we have it. The width here is 51, so we can change this one to 51 as well. Oh, okay, I guess we should leave them for now the way they are. This is 84. Let's change this back to 84 as well. Okay, so the next thing we want to do for now, before we are still going to come back here, because we need to create space in between them, and we also need to make them responsive as well. So now we have these on the left group. Let us go to the right group. We need to have two things in the right group, and those two things are the sign up and the login buttons. So this one, we are just going to put them in. So the first thing we want to do is input text and say sign up, and the next thing we want to do as well is to input. Just click on button here from the left hand side and put the button here to say I think login. Yeah, so as you can see, our button carried the primary color that we chose, so we can see it here, the primary color. So that's a good one, but we can see that the arrangement is not the way it ought to be. This is login and sign up, so we are going to change the arrangement. We can do it from here or from these elements tree. So if we click on the right group, we can see that we have the text sign up and we have the button login as well. So we can always use these elements tree. So now we can see that this sign up is not as centralized in the group as this one is. So let us click on the sign up and go to layout. So we can make, if you look at the vertical alignment here, let's click on center. So you see it's now in the center. Now we are going to format this button. If we look at the size of the button here, we can see that the width is 117 by 55. So we can replicate that in the layout, 117 by 55. So you can see that it's the width 117 by 55. So to have it the way we have it here, and this sign up can remain as it is. Now we have our left group and our right group. Now what we want to do next is to create the space in between them. As you can see, we should create a space in between them and make them responsive as well. If we look at this side, we can see the space from here to the logo. That is the margin. The space from here to this login button as well. We are going to create that. The space between this logo and the home, we are going to do that as well. And the home causes the spaces between them, we are going to do those as well. So now let's go back into our bubble interface. Now let us create a space between our left group and right group first. Now we are going to select the nav bar, which is the parent of them all. We can see this is the nav bar, this is the left group. The left group from our, I'm looking at this from our elements tree. We can collapse them, the left group and the right group. The right group. So now, but what can create spacing between them is this reusable navbar, which is serving as the group that contains both of them. So it is what we are going to use to separate them. Now we can see here that the container alignment, that is, the container alignment is left aligned. That is, the things inside the container are aligned to the left. That is, left group and the right group are the things inside the container. They are all aligned to the left. So we can either align them, make them centralized, centered, or align them to the right, or make a space, make them to be spaced around, or make space between them. But I feel we can either use the space around or space between. So if we use this space between, it is going to send them to the edge. So now we have space between them. We have space between them, the left group and the right group. And we can see that this right group is too long. So we can fix that we can see the right group as well can also be aligned. I mean, the things inside of it can also be controlled. As you can see, we can also use space between for them as well. So, but let us align them to the left, because the space between them is too much. So we are going to not make them a fixed width. We are going to uncheck this fixed width and say that it should fit the width to the content. So you can see but there's still an issue here. The minimum width is set to 513, which is too much. So we can set the minimum width to, like, let's see what 200 is going to look like. So 200 is looking good because it is now containing both of the buttons, the sign up button and the login, without their parent group taking too much space. And they are vertically aligned as well, which is looking good. And now the right group as well, the left group as well, we select the left group and also not make it fixed width, so that it can be flexible when we want to look at the responsiveness. And now the minimum width is too much. We can make it 0. I think can make it 0, and the maximum width should also be around, let's look at 400. The maximum width, okay, the 400 is too much. Let's make it 600. Okay, the maximum width now is 600, but it is not fixed. The width is not fixed. but we are saying that the width should not be fixed, but it shouldn't be more than 600, and the minimum width can be 0. That is, it can compress down to 0, but it should not go beyond 600. And we are doing that because of the responsiveness. We are still going to look at the responsiveness here. This is the responsive. We can switch to the responsive tab here and look at different screens. We are going to consider this later to see what our navbar, how our navbar is going to behave in different screens. This is the desktop, this is the tablet, this is the mobile landscape, and this is the mobile portrait view. So we are as you can see now that these things are not responsive in different screens. So, but while still on the desktop screen, it's still looking a bit okay. We are going to address that later. So let us go back to our UI builder and sort the space in between this home button, this logo and the home, the nav links, this home courses and the rest. So let us click on the left group itself. We can control the things inside this left group. We have the logo and this as well inside the inner group that is holding this text and the logo. So this is the logo and this is the group that contains the logo and the inner group. So now we can set this to, let's say, space between. If we set it to space between, we can see that there is now space between this logo and this home. So you can see that there's the space between them now, but I feel this space is too much. So there's a way we can sort that out, because if we look at our Figma file, the space between is not as much as this. So we can tell it to make it left aligned and apply gap spacing between the elements. If we look at this now, we can see that the space between the logo and this inner group is 50, so we can use that as well. So let us apply gap spacing between elements. So that's going to be column gap, and we can type in 50 here to see. As you can see, the space has changed, so we can type in 50. So that has created the space between the logo and this. So for these ones as well, we can see that the space in between these ones is 26, but we see that there's spaces between them already because of these home buttons, the way they are behaving. But let us reduce the space and make this element okay. The element is fixed width, so we can reduce them. That's still going to be okay, sorry. We can make them fit width to content. Okay, yeah. Fit, not fixed width, but fit their width to content, to the content, and reduce the minimum, make the minimum width 0, so that they are going to wrap around the text automatically. So the about us, we are going to make the minimum width 0 and fit the width to content. For this one as well, I'm not going to make it fixed with 0. We could have done this for the first text that we copied actually. So we make the width 0 and fit width to content. Now we can see that they are now very close to themselves, and now we can now apply the gap spacing, the 26 gap spacing between them. Now apply gap spacing between elements. So the gap spacing, we are going to make it 26. As you can see now, this is looking better. And now the next thing we want to consider is the space between this logo and the edge of the nav bar container itself, on the left side and on the right side as well. So we can use padding for that. We are going to select the nav bar container itself and come here. So the padding is the spacing that we can create inside a container, while margin is space we can create outside. So this is padding. So if you look at the left, let us make it 200 is too much. Let's make it like 100 to the left and 100 to the right as well. So we can now see that we have the spaces on the left hand side and the right hand side. Now the space between this sign up and the button is kind of too much compared to what we have here. You can see that this sign up and login are very close, and we just have 30 in between them. So we are going to use the same method we used for this. Now for this sign up as well, we are going to go to the layout. The width is fixed, so we are going to make it not fixed. We are going to make the minimum width 0 and say fit width to content. So when we fit the width to content, the sign up and login are now side by side. Now we can now automatically create, we can now create the space between them. Now we click on the group that contains both of them to create the space in between them. So you can make, if you look at the space here, the space is 30, so we can make it 30 as well. So you can see that the space here, the space between them has been defined. Now let's look at the size of this sign up text. The size of the sign up text is 18. We are still going to talk about the font later, but for now let's just go along with the fonts that we have. So the size is 18 because the text here is looking a bit small to me. I think it's because, okay, now we can change that under this appearance tab, and looking here, the style attributes, we can choose 18 here, 18. So, and we can do the same for these guys as well, because I think they are also 18. Yes, 18 as well. So we also have checked that earlier. So that's 18. Yeah, but there's actually a faster way we can do this. But if we edit, now we want to apply the same thing as is here to the rest, so we can just the style attributes that we use for this text is the body. For those that know HTML, we know that we create classes for elements like this to replicate inside other things that have that same class. So we can edit the style, the body attribute, can edit the style, we can change if we change this 14, this is the body attribute, so we can change this 14 to 18. So when we change it to 18, we are going to discover that, let's go, this is the style, the styles tab. Let's go back to the design tab. So now we can see that the rest of our text are taking that 18. Let's go to pricing. You can see that it is now 18 and the contacts also is now 18. It is because, we copied this home and pasted them here, and we also created this one as well. So they all have the same style attributes, which is body. So because they have that, you can edit that style attribute, and you can change the color or anything you want to change about it, and they all are going to have it is going to affect all of them. So it makes work easier as well. So that is what we should take note of. So now let us look at the responsiveness. Now that we have the navbar, let us look at how responsive it is. This is 1:2 when the screen is 1:2, when it is 9:9:2 tablet. You can see when it is landscape, it's scrambling together now. You can see the mobile view. So now the next thing we want to do is to make our navbar responsive. As you can see here, that on the mobile view we have this burger icon and the logo alone, the sign up and login. So but we can't see these ones anymore. So in a nutshell, let us make our navbar responsive. So when the screen, the breakpoint is 1200, we can have it like this, because this is still the desktop view. So this is how it is going to show on our desktop, which is cool. But when it changes to the tablet, we want these home courses about us all to not show, so that we can have our burger icon, so that we can have this burger icon here. So what we are going to do next is we are going to make a condition that, so we are going to select this inner group left. Let us select it and go to conditional. Now let's define a new condition, and that condition is going to be that when that condition is going to be that when the current, let's scroll down here, when current page width is less than or equals to this 992. Now that's the condition we are going to set. Now this element, that is this element that we selected, we are going to make it not visible. Now this element is visible, is ticked, so we are going to say not visible. Now let us go back to 1200. You can see that it is showing, and let us go to 992. So now with this condition that we set, that when current page width is less than or equal to 992, these elements shouldn't be visible. But we also need to factor in something as well, that apply gas space, no, not this. We want to collapse this. You can see that it's still the group or the border is still showing, so we don't want the border to show at all, because it's still taking up space here. So we are going to collapse it when it is hidden. So right now it is hidden, so we collapse it. Now we have nothing there. So when our screen is on the tablet size, then we are not going to see those home and contact us and all sorts again. Now The next thing we want to do now is to create our icon, our burger icon. But meanwhile, let us also hide this login and sign up as well. Let us hide this login and sign up as well. But I feel on the mobile page, okay, we still have the sign up and login. Okay, so in that case, we are going to leave that. But let us just put our burger icon by the side here. So let us go back to our UI builder. We are going to add icon here. Click on icon and come to this side. Place it by the side of the login. That is where we are going to have our burger icon. So I can see one here. I'm going to select it with the color, but the color is black here. So we are going to make the color, we are going to change the color to black. We are going to change the color to black. Yeah, right. So, but it is showing up here. So we are going to move it down to the right where it is supposed to be. Error, okay, there's an error. So let us just reload our page now. Our page has been reloaded. Now we have our burger icon on the right, but it is not well aligned. It's supposed to be centralized. So what can we do to make it centralized? We are going to click on it and go to layout and tell it to the vertical alignment to be centered. So now we have it centralized. So we have it centralized. Now when we go to our responsive tab, when we go to the responsive tab and we click on 1 2, we click on 992, we see that that is hidden, and this icon tab has moved close to this login. But when we go back to default, yeah, this default and to the desktop screen, so we don't want to see this burger icon on the desktop screen. So we only want to see it when we have moved to the tablet or anything down from the tablet alone, from this breakpoint here. When we reach this breakpoint, so that is only when we want to see the burger icon, not when we are on the desktop. So how can we do that? We can achieve that by clicking on the burger icon and coming to the layout and telling it that this element is visible on page load, so it should not be visible on page load. That is number one. And it should collapse when it is hidden. Now it should collapse when it is hidden. So now we can't see it, but we can still see it here on our elements tree. So if we click on it, we can still make it show up for now, but when we click away, it is going to hide. So it is not, when we load the page, it is not visible. So we are going to set a conditional for it that let me copy the conditional we have for this. So I can copy this expression. This is okay, it's the expression, sorry. So we go back to the icon and go to the condition. I can paste the expression here. That is, when the current page width is less than or equal to 992, then this element is visible. That is only when it should show it. Now we have set that, and now let us check. This is, now let us uncheck it here. Alright, we have hidden it. Now this is 12992. So we can see that that is only when it is now showing. So 12992. So 992 and beyond 776. So because that is with the condition we set. So we also have it on the mobile landscape and mobile as well. We are going to fix all this. Don't worry about that. So it's part of the responsiveness work. So this is 1 2 and this is 992. Now we have an issue here, that is this icon is moving close to this login button, so we are going to set a conditional as well for this. We are going to set a conditional, and the conditional is going to be that when this nav bar, when the current page, you can search for the current page, which is okay. We can paste that same expression, paste expression. The right padding should reduce. Yeah, that's was 100. Should reduce to, like, let's say 20. So, and as well, we want to create space between this icon and this login and signing. So let us select it and create a margin as well. So when the current page is less than 992, we want to have a margin, and that's going to be left margin. So let us create a left margin. So that is the space there should be. This guy should give us space. We need space, so let's make it like 90. So as you can see, we now have space. So when it is 1, 2, when it is on the desktop, this is what it is going to look like. When it is on a smaller desktop, 1200 pixels. But when it gets to 992, we are going to have this icon here and also the space between them. And now when it is 768, which is mobile landscape, I think it is still okay. It's looking good. The space between them, and as well the mobile. Now the mobile is now where we are having the issue. We are going to sort that out. As we can see that it is, our design is all scrambled up, and that is because the expressions we set here are affecting this one. So now we can sort it out by clicking on the nav bar itself, or let us make it a bit big and set a condition on the nav bar that when the page reaches, you can see that when the page is 768, it's still looking, everything is still looking fine. But when the page is 320, it is no more looking good. So now we will set another condition, and let us set another condition that, let's paste this expression, that when the page is equal to 320 or less than 320, let's make it 576 actually. 576. Let's make it 576. So okay, let us look at the issue. You can see that the space between this image, the space in between them has been scrambled up. So the first thing we want to remove is the nav bar's left margin, that is this space. We want to make left padding, the left padding, it is at 100, so but let us reduce it. So when it is at 320, so we want to reduce it. You can see that as I'm reducing the left padding, the logo is going back, and that is because of the padding that we applied initially. So we don't want it to hit the walls, but we still want a little bit of space, like let's say 10. Yeah, this is looking good. And now the next thing we want to do is to reduce the size of this sign up and login. So let us click on the right group. So let us copy this expression when the page width is equal to or less than 576. We're going to apply the same conditional here. Let's paste the expression. So we want to make the height, the minimum height of this. We want to reduce the height. Okay, I think we have to apply that to the button, yeah, because I think the button is what is taking more space here. So button login conditional, let's define the condition for the login button. So when the page's width is this, the width, the minimum, the width of the button now, yeah, the width of the button should reduce. The width of the button should reduce, and the height as well. The minimum height should also reduce. The width should reduce more. The minimum height should reduce as well because the screen is now smaller. Let's make it 30, and we're going to do the same for this sign up as well. Let's reduce the size. When the page is this, the minimum width as well for the sign up is 0, but okay, the size, sorry, the size is what we are going to look at. The size of the font size, yes, the font size should also reduce. The font size should reduce, and the space in between as well for the right group, the column gap is 30, so it should also reduce as well. Should also reduce. The column gap should reduce, and the minimum width should now be 0. Oh, sorry. The minimum width should be reduced. The minimum width should be reduced. The minimum width should be reduced. Yeah. So that's to 145. And now we want to make space for this burger icon here. We want to make space for the burger icon, and the way to do that, as we can see here, that there's this space with in this logos or whatever. So we are going to create a conditional for it as well. So let's paste the expression that then the width, the minimum width for this is 0. That is not what is taking up the space. So what is taking up the space, I think is, but before that, I feel we should reduce the size of this logo. So this logo, we should set, if we set that condition, then the width should be reduced as well, because we are now on the mobile landscape, the mobile page. So the logo has been reduced, and now what we want to do now is make space for this icon on the right side. But as we can see that we need to make space because this particular left group is just taking some space here, and we need to reduce it. So the issue really is with what we set earlier on for this icon, for the space on this breakpoint here, this 768 breakpoint, because of this space, and that space is trickling down to this 320. So when the page, we are now going to make another condition that when, let's define a new condition that when the current page is less than or equal to 576, then the left margin for this icon, oh sorry, the left margin should be 0, as you can see. Okay, yeah, so the left margin is now 0. So now we have the icon, and we need to also reduce its size as well. So the width and height of the icon. So it's too big for the mobile, so let us reduce it, and as well the height as well. So we are going to reduce it, the height as well. We are going to reduce it, and for the navbar as well, we are going to set a condition that when the current page width is this, the left padding, the right padding rather, should reduce, yes, should reduce. Yeah. So right now we have what we have on our what's it called, the Figma. Yeah, you can see now this is the mobile landscape, the 992, the 1.2, the desktop. So we just made our navbar responsive across different screens. So the next thing we are going to do is to make this icon, when we are going to set a condition that when we click this icon, there should be a slide out of home courses, about us, pricing and the likes. So we are going to cover that in the next lesson.